friends, and happy Monday. If you're new here, my name is Kaelyn. I'm a PhD student in History and African American Studies at Yale University, and today I'm starting a couple days in my life as a PhD student. It is crunch time, it is finals, we are writing our final papers. I have 3 major papers that I have to write over the next week. I have one that is due tomorrow, so we are cracking on getting a bunch of work done over the coming days, so prepare for a lot of motivational study content. This morning I got up, took Moo out for her walk, put on a little bit of makeup, and actually filmed my PhD student budget, which was the video that should have gone up before this one. So check out the card up above if you want to see that. And I have other finance content coming soon, so if there's any suggestions you all have, please make sure to leave a comment or shoot me a DM. And I'm gonna keep cracking on with my day because I have a lot of things to get done. I'll take you guys along with me for the next couple days and see what we get up to. Look who we have here. My sister came over because she needed to drop off the car, and now we're gonna go pick up some food, and then I have to go help her run an errand before coming back and continuing to work on my paper. But I've made quite a bit of progress on it. I will tell you guys a little bit about it later because we're kind of on the move, but I just wanted to check in because I've just been studying all morning, and I had the accountability workshop. I studied with Danielle. I looked at one client document today. Most of my client documents for people that are submitting by tomorrow are pretty much done. I think I have one other client that I need to review in the morning. Everybody seems to be getting their things in, which is exciting. If you have submitted by the December 15 deadline, which is kind of standard for US PhD programs, then good luck. My fingers are crossed for you. Let me know down below if you are applying to graduate school this year. And I'm gonna go ahead and go get some food because I'm starving. Alright, I feel like I barely talked to you guys today and like checked in. It's just been a whirlwind, but I've been working on my paper, and the current title is Historicizing Sexual Encounter, the Study of Intergenerational and Interracial Sex Across Time and Space. And I talked about this a little bit in my last vlog, but I'm basically doing a book review of 4 different books. I'm looking at Estelle Freeman's Redefining Rape, Alice Weinbaum's Wayward Reproductions, Thomas Foster's Rethinking Rufus, and Rachel Hope Cleave's book Unspeakable. And I'm liking the way it's turning out at the moment. I have a very solid outline as to what I'm doing. So I have the full introduction pretty much completed, and it spans about 3 pages. And then I have the 4 sections. So section 1 is Historicizing Sexual Violence, Rape, and Consent. And then section 2 is The Race Reproductive Bind with Alice Weinbaum, Sexual Violations Across Gendered Lines, and then Intergenerational Sex, and then the conclusion. So I like how it's shaping up at the moment. I just feel fried. It's just been a lot and very little sleep, and I actually thought the paper was due tomorrow, but it's not due till Wednesday. I'm gonna give myself a little bit of space to breathe and actually get a good night's sleep tonight because I've just been staying up really late and getting up really early every day. There's errands that need to be run and like things that my family needs, which I'm happy to do, but it means that I get distracted from my work and then I can't focus on my papers. That's just one of the difficulties of being at home. Whereas if I'm back in my apartment, I don't have any distractions. The only thing I have to worry about is like feeding myself and taking care of Moo, and then I can just work. That is what is going on. I'm gonna go ahead and actually take the evening to relax a little bit and hang out with Liam, so that way I can get a decent night's sleep tonight and then hit the ground running tomorrow. I'm gonna get up early, go get coffee, and then immediately start working. I have one client I need to meet with tomorrow morning, but that shouldn't take too long. I'm gonna go ahead and take off my makeup, take the night off, and then hit the ground running tomorrow because I've been focusing on this all day and I just need to take a step away from it. One of the important things about graduate study is that you have these like longer papers and they're way more in depth than the stuff that I was writing in undergrad, in which case you have to work on them over multiple days, and it's just an intellectual challenge and my brain is fried. So I will see you all in the morning. Good night. Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I went ahead, got up this morning and picked up some coffee. I got a good night's sleep last night. I've got my trusted partner in crime with me, and now it is time to go back home and work on my essay. I'm feeling really good about it today, and I'm really glad that I got to get a little bit of rest last night. But we're gonna go ahead and go home, get work done, and see if we can get this essay out of the way.
Close your eyes, get some rest. I'm by your side.
So I'm a bad vlogger. It is now the evening, but today I was just like trying to get this paper written. I still have quite a bit to go. It is currently 6:30 p.m. I went ahead and ordered some Cajun food, so I got some gumbo and some cornbread, and just eating a little bit. And I'm actually hanging out with Katie, the vintage academic, and we are getting some work done together. She's already done with finals, but I have this paper to write and I'm actually really happy with how it's turning out. I'm currently working on the section with Estelle Friedman's Redefining Rape, which basically covers the socio-legal and political histories from the 18th century on to the 1994 Violence Against Women Act, looking at basically who had access to consent, acts of racial terror, the weaponization of sexual violence, and then how it impacts different groups of people across socioeconomic lines, gendered lines, racial lines, etc. It's an interesting section to write. I actually read the book when I was in undergrad during a history seminar on the history of sexual violence, and the book was written by a previous advisor of my professor. She's just an incredible sexuality historian. I really recommend the book. I think it's very well written and very well done, and that is what's going on. That's my little update. I know I'm talking fast. I'm just a little stressed out about this paper. I'm not somebody that can just like quickly write a draft and then edit it. I have to edit as I go, otherwise the essay just doesn't make sense and then I'll end up rewriting it anyway, like completely rewriting it. So that's what's going on. That's my process, and it's worked for me up until this point. So I'm just gonna continue on as I have done, and I'm gonna take a little break to eat dinner and then get started again. So I'm here with Katie.
Hello.
And we are talking about her undergraduate thesis, and she was asking me about how I organized my notes for my thesis, which is interesting to return to because I haven't looked at all of my notes from undergrad for the longest time, but I have to because now I'm trying to turn my undergrad paper into a publication. But we were talking about like kind of where to get started, and I just thought it'd be an interesting thing to like mention in this video. So the way that I got started with my thesis was kind of setting up a bibliography based on sources that we had read in my American Revolution seminar. But one of my biggest pieces of advice is like maybe pick like 2 or 3 books or something that you want to dig into, either with the help of your professor or with the library sources at your university. Start digging into it and check the footnotes, because that's what's going to tell you what is the important literature in your subject. And then additionally start taking notes so that way you're keeping track of any like sources, so evidence, what are the sources, what are the findings, and then try to find what the central arguments are as well as the sources that they're pulling from. That's kind of how I got started with my bibliography. When I return to my thesis, when I get back to New Haven, I will show you all how I actually organized my notes as an undergrad and how that's actually changed as I'm now a graduate student and how I organize things now.
Do you want to show the camera what I just wrote down about my thesis? I think it's backwards, but it says, I'm convinced I won't find any sources.
Well, the initial question that I sought when I was starting my thesis actually wasn't doable because there weren't enough sources. But
yeah,
what you find as you go through it, like as you start digging into the literature and as you start looking at the sources that are available, your question starts to change. And I'm now recognizing that I'm procrastinating by talking about other research when I should be writing my papers. It's fine. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that little tangent, but now I'm actually going to return to write my paper. Good morning, everyone, and happy Wednesday. I stayed up until like 12:30 last night working on the paper and was just hitting a bit of a wall with it. I just have this horrible habit. I have the idea in my mind, I have the thing written, but every time I try to start forming sentences, if I'm not under pressure, I have a really difficult time writing well. Whereas when I feel like there's pressure, then I tend to write better. My sentences are more succinct, my ideas are clearer, and it's frustrating. I call it effective procrastination because I've been working on this paper and all my papers for weeks, and I work on them every day, yet I'm still here in the final hours working on it. This paper's due today, so my plan is to get it done as soon as possible. I do have a call this afternoon with a very exciting company that I'm hoping to partner with, not just for videos, but I actually want to talk to them about kind of a long-term relationship with accepted consulting, because I think it's going to be a really excellent resource for transfer students. But I wanted to just get up and get the day started, so I got up at like 7:30. I went ahead and ordered Pete's. I got the coconut black tie. You definitely have to be somebody that loves coconut in order to really appreciate it. And I actually moved the couch over by my desk last night, so that way little Nugget could sit next to me. And she seems much happier given that setup. So I am just gonna keep working on this paper. I'm currently working on the section about wayward reproductions by Alice Weinbaum and her theory of the race reproductive bind. So to summarize, I said, in theorizing what Weinbaum describes as the race reproductive bind, she aimed to broadly assess various European and American canonical texts by exploring, quote, the relationship between race and reproduction in the interest of consolidating racial nationalism or imperial regimes of power. Weinbaum's conception of reproduction goes beyond studies of trade and exploitation of enslaved women's bodies to consider how genealogical purity were reproduced in tandem with definitions of citizenship, and in a way that hints at eugenics thinking, as well as the idea of the Republican mother. Back in the late 18th century, early 19th century, there's this conception of like the Republican mother, whereby you have a duteous, knowledgeable mother, but then instills Republican values of liberty to their male children, who are then going to go build up the body politic of the time, because the only people in America that had full citizenship were white men. It's just an interesting text to kind of dig into. It's more theoretical than I typically interface with, but it is a very fascinating piece, and I actually wish I just had a little bit more time to really dig into it. But I think that this is a book that I'm going to want to return to for my comprehensive exams or when I'm writing my dissertation, because her theoretical framing does have roots in my own project. So that's what I'm working on right now. I posted my last vlog and people said that they really enjoyed me talking about my research and my subject and the papers that I'm writing. And so it makes me really happy, because I like being able to kind of talk through what I'm reading, because it really helps me think about how I want to structure the actual paper. So in a way, me nerding out, which you guys enjoy, actually helps me write my papers in the long run. So thank you. And now I'm just gonna keep working. I'm gonna take a little bit of a break to have my breakfast and then keep on going. The only thing I have today is my meeting, so I'm just gonna be working on this all day. I'll check in with you guys in a little while. right, so I've now completed the second section, which was looking at Wayward Reproductions by Alice Weinbaum. And now I am starting the section on Thomas Foster's book, Rethinking Rufus, which if you watched my last vlog, you might know, but I'll just tell you guys again, which is one of the first studies actually looking at sexual violence enacted against enslaved men. So much of what is talked about as barriers to studying acts of violence within the institution of slavery is obviously a lack of sources within the archive, but the layered challenge when studying enslaved men is that not only do we not have records in their own voices, but they also don't leave behind biological evidence. So my goal with Thomas Foster's book is to look specifically at the way he uses sources and the way he develops a method for actually studying enslaved men that kind of goes beyond what we typically would employ when studying institutions of slavery and sexual encounter. So I'm excited to see what I managed to get out of it, but that is what I'm going to be working on for the next little bit. I have a meeting in about an hour, so I'm going to be working on that and moving right along. All right, the essay is now submitted. I got it done, thank God. And I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. It's supposed to be 12 pages and I did like 12 and a half, so I don't think that'll be too much of an issue. But that all being said, I'm very happy with how the paper turned out. And I think that a lot of what I read will actually be pretty applicable in future work. I wish I had a little bit more time to like dig into the literature, but they might be on my comp exam, so you might see this set of reading again. But I'm gonna go ahead and actually take the rest of the night to relax a little bit and then jump right back into it tomorrow. I'm actually gonna go ahead and end off this vlog here because I'm going to edit it and upload it tomorrow. I hope you all enjoyed getting to go along with me as I write this essay, and I will see you all next time. If you enjoyed this one, please remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you aren't, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.